Welcome to the class. Let's start with something new, right? So what do you see in this image? Let me know, what do you see in this image? Okay. So some of you will say, I can see giraffe over here, I can see monkey over here, right? So what are these monkeys and giraffe? Yes, these are the animals. So in this session, we are going to learn something about the animals, right? So what do you know about the animals? Let me know, what do you know about the animals? Yes, most of you will say we have seen the animals which are having four legs, right? Which can walk on the four legs with the help of four legs. They will be having one tail-like structure. They will be having horns on their head, right? So these are the common characteristics which can be seen on some animals, right? So in this session, we are going to learn something about the animals. What do you mean by something about the animals? We are not going to learn something. Yes, we are going to learn the different characteristics about the animals. As you know, the different characteristics related to plants, different characteristics related to animals, right? You know na the characteristics? Yes, you know. But now we are going to learn these characteristics in somewhat detail so that we can identify the organism very well and we can understand what they are trying to say, how they are adapting their cells, right? So in this session, we are going to learn how these animals are being classified, on the what basis they are being classified, right? So what are the criteria for the classification and why we want to study the classification of the animals and the characteristics of the animals. As you know, there are so many living organisms present on the earth, right? So but these organisms are different from each other. How they are different from each other? See, me and you are different. How we are different? We can be different on the basis of the gender, on the basis of our weight, height, right? Skin pigmentation. You may be white or you may be glorified than me, right? So these are the basic criteria on which we are differing with each other. See, we the humans are being different from each other. Then if we talk about the animals, how these animals are being different? Yes, some of you will say that four legs are there, horn-like structure is there, birds are having beaks, right? So these are the uniqueness. So all the living organisms which are present on the earth, they are different from each other on the basis of their body structure, how they are eating their food, how they are living in their habitat. So basis on different criteria, they are having the uniqueness within themselves. So these living organisms are unique, right? So, what we are trying to say that every organism living on this earth is unique in itself. All these organisms are having some uniqueness within themselves. So, this uniqueness of each living organism, how this uniqueness is coming? Because there are great differences or the diversity. The differences. See, whatever differences we are observing within ourselves or within us and among us and different animals. So how they are being different? Based on different criteria as we have discussed. So these criteria are different, right? So animals are having different food habits. We are having different food habits. If we talk about the plants, then plants are also having different food habits. They can synthesize their own food, but we cannot synthesize our food, right? So these are the basic differences on which we can classify different organisms and they are having the different diversities. What do you mean by the diversity? The differences within a self. That is called diversity. The type of living organism found in one place is entirely different from organism found in another place. Now, what we are trying to say? See, one person is living in one region. So it will be different from another region, right? It will be different from the person who is living in different region. So if we are talking about one animal, so if one animal is living in the desert region, it will be different from the animals which is living in the, yes, cold region, right? So if we talk about the Indians, so Indians will be having different skin pigmentation which is living from the different country, right? So if we talk about or if we compare the Indians with the South Africans, So the skin pigmentation will be different, right? Why it is different? So there are so many parameters, so many factors which will affect the skin pigmentation. First, the sunlight, right? So the sunlight will affect the skin pigmentation. Then the hereditary. What do you mean by the hereditary? See, if we talk about the skin pigmentation, we will be looking similar with our parents, right? So this skin pigmentation or some of the genes will be common with our parents. That is called hereditary. Something which is coming from our parents to us, that is hereditary. So many factors will be available over there. So this factors is responsible why this skin pigmentation is different. So with vast differences in large number, it is very difficult to study each and every living organism separately. See, when we talk about the lions only, so there will be so many differences within lions. So how can we study each and every lion which is present on the earth? Because the number of lion species will be so much large. So it would be very difficult to understand them. If we talk about the humans, then it would be very difficult to study. If I want to study me or myself, then how will I study? I have to study about my skin pigmentation. I have to study about my height. I have to study about my weight, right? Rather than this, I can study my body physiology. What are the process which is going inside me? So it would be very difficult and it would be very hard to understand what is going inside me. So if I talk about me, then also it is different, right? Then it will be very difficult for me too. So how can I study so many living organisms which is present on the earth? So that's why we have to classify this organism into different groups. As you know that your mother will be carrying different things in different sections. As you know that you are carrying your stationery in your stationery pouch or compass box, right? You are keeping your clothes in your cupboard station, right? If your mother keeping the kitchen items to your stationery, then it would be very difficult to keep it, right? So that's why we are keeping different things in different regions so that it would be very useful, right? It would be very easy to use it. So that's why to study and understand the life of animals effectively, they have been classified into different groups on the basis of the different criterias. See, now what we are trying to say in this one, we are going to study particularly about the animals. So animals are having so many differences. So to easy our study, we are going to classify these animals in the some groups. How we are going to classify in some groups? Based on different criterias. Now, you are very eager to know. So you may ask, what are these criterias? So let us discuss what are the criterias for the classification of animal kingdom. See, whenever we talk about the kingdom, that is a large group of the animals. Now we are going to classify this large group of animals into different groups, right? So that it would be easy to study that this animal is belonging to this category or other category, right? So animals can be classified based on the different criterias. Like the first criteria is there based on the presence and absence of the backbone. Now you will ask, what do you mean by the backbone? See, I am sitting straight over here. So why I can sit straight? Because I am having my backbone over here. You know, na? On your back, you will be having the straight line. That is your backbone. Based on that backbone, we can sit properly, we can stand properly, we can sit straight, we can stand straight. So that is called backbone. So on the presence or the absence of the backbone, we are having different categories. So you will ask, what are these categories, right? So these categories are invertebrates and vertebrates, right? So the animals which are having the backbone, they are known as the vertebrates. And the animals which do not have the backbone, they are called invertebrates, right? So the vertebrates and invertebrates. Clear up to you? Yes. Okay. So now, what is the second category? See, based on their eating habits. How we can classify this organism based on their eating habits? If they are eating by their beak, by hands, like that? No. What they are eating? What kind of food they are taking for their growth? See, some animals will be taking grass. Some will eat only leaves, some will eat fruits, and some can eat other animals too, right? Meat of other animals. So, based on this category, we are going to classify these animals into three categories. So, you will ask, what are these three categories? Yes. So, they are herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. Okay. So, these three categories are there based on their eating habits. Now, you will ask, what are the herbivores, carnivores, and the omnivores? We are going to study in this detail. See, herbivores which can eat only the grass material or the leaves or the plants. But these carnivores are the animals which can eat the meat of the animals. And in this omnivores, they can eat both. What do you mean by the both? They can eat plants as well as meat of the animals. Clear? Okay. Now, based on their habitat, you know na habitat? You have learned this in plant section? Yes. What do you mean by the habitat? The natural form of living organism is in their habitat. The natural living place of the organism, that is called their habitat. If the animal is living on the land, so that will be their habitat. If the animal is living in the water, then the water will be their habitat. So based on their habitat, we are having the different organisms, different animals. So it will be called terrestrial animals, then aquatic animals, just like plant, right? So based on their habitat, we are having different classification of the animals. Clear this? Okay, good.